So, to start off the third part of our class session, I actually want to introduce you to assignment 3 because it's connected to the book that you will begin reading this week, Read Potok's My Name is Asher Lev. Now, for assignment 3, this assignment's not going to be due until the very last Sunday of the course, so this is a ways away. But it'll help you to understand the assignment so that you know what to be looking for as you're reading the novel. And really, what you're going to be doing for assignment 3 is pretty much identical to what you're doing right now for assignment 2 with Ruth. So, the prompt in the syllabus is to define, describe, and explain with examples the central textual conflict outlined in Potok, analyze how this central conflict is illustrated through his work. Throughout your paper, provide support for your interpretation through the integration of thoughts from 3 sources. Okay, now I'll go through this a bit more and break it down over the upcoming weeks. But just right there, as you're reading Potok, be thinking of the conflicts that you're seeing in the story. And then as we read, you will encounter sources that can help you with Potok, and you will do some eventual outside research to help you find your sources. So again, the essay is going to be around 3 to 4 pages. It's about 1,000 words. It is worth a little bit more than assignment 2 at 20% of your course grade. So it's very important that you do well on this assignment for your grade in the course. All right, so having said that, I now want to shift over to how to read Potok's novel. So I just want to give you a couple pointers as we begin reading this book. One is to go ahead and pause real quick and do an inspectional reading of the book. Okay, so now you're immediately going to realize that you probably can't identify as much about this book as you could from some of the nonfiction articles we've been reading, because there's not really any chapter headings or titles or anything like that. And that's okay, but go ahead and pause the video, do your inspectional reading, and see what you can learn from the book and come back. All right, so now that you've done your inspectional reading, one thing I want to point out about this book is that because there are not a lot of chapter headings and titles and subsections and all of that, it's going to be very, very important that you annotate your book, and especially that you write little descriptions in the margins explaining what is happening in this scene. So this could be the scene where the mother disapproves of the drawing or something like that. And I've tried to give you an example of what my book looks like. That's what all these little comments in the side are. They are to remind me of where key facts are or what certain scenes are. Okay, and this is invaluable because when you go to write assignment 3, you're going to be going, oh, where's that scene where such and such happened, or where did the papa say this in the book? And having these little cues will be invaluable. Okay, so please get in the habit of doing this from the beginning. If you can, it will really make your life a lot easier when it comes to writing assignment number 3. So what I want us to do right now is focus in and do a bit of a close reading of a scene that has some conflict in it. If you haven't already read part of the Potok book, what I recommend is to pause this video and read up to at least page, or read through page 29. That will be the section that ends, I've noticed, my father said softly. And then the next paragraph after the break will say, my father's brother came over to our apartment sometime before Passover. So read up to that section, and then pause the video, come back, and I'll explain these questions. So now that you've read up to page 29, I want you to focus specifically on the scene that starts with the paragraph, my mother joined us for supper that evening. She smoked cigarette after cigarette. She had put on one of her blonde wigs. Okay, start at that paragraph and read to the end of the section that ends, I've noticed, my father said softly. Okay, and I want you to answer these 4 questions. What is the conflict in the scene? Which side, if any, does the story favor? What words or actions can we find in the scene to support this? And are there other possible interpretations of these actions or words? So remember, these are the same questions we had from our textbook Graff and Birkenstein, and that we asked of the book of Ruth to help us find the conflict. So I want you to answer these questions within our activity worksheet here. And at the very end, I want you to kind of weigh in. After all, you've done all of these 4 steps to kind of find a conflict. What is your interpretation of the meaning or importance of this scene in this book? Okay, why do you think it's important? And as you're reading this scene, I would like you to be annotating it, and I want you to take pictures of your annotations and post them here in the document. But again, if that doesn't work, then you can email or text it to me. So go ahead and complete that activity and come back when you're done. So lastly, I just want us to engage in a couple discussion questions, and I will try to find a way to share this with everyone else in the class. But if you haven't noticed, right now the narrator of this story is a child. So we're encountering all of these kind of adult situations from the perspective of a child. So I want you to consider these questions. How do you think Asher's interpretation of the events differ from that of an adult's? And second, how is our experience as a reader of these events different from what Asher experiences? I.e., what knowledge do we have that Asher doesn't? Okay, so we all automatically infer some things and know some things because we're adults and we have more experiences than Asher, who seems to be around the age of 5 or very young in these scenes. So go ahead and pause this video and answer these questions right here.